Alright, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from Street Scores. I wanted to give y'all a deep look into how all of the expert draft analysts and different sports organizations and draft guys and football networks and things like that, how they felt about our entire draft, what grade they gave them, any notable things that any of these grading reviews were said about us, because you'll be surprised by some of them. And of course, I'm working on mines, but I just want to watch more film before I give mine. I don't want to go based off of what everybody else is saying. So just give me a little bit more time to finish watching film on everybody so I can give as accurate of a grade. Because you really can't judge a draft until like 2-3 years later, because this time last year we didn't know Cameron Curl would be that good. This time last year we didn't know that Antonio Gandy-Golden wouldn't contribute anything to the offense. This time 3 years ago we didn't know that all of that Darius Geisness would have happened. He was originally a steal in the second round. So again, it's hard to really grade a draft until like 2 years down the line, honestly. But after watching more film, I still feel like that would be a much better, more accurate review than if I were to give a draft review and grade today or yesterday or things like that. So I'm working on it. I promise you I'm working on it. I haven't forgot about it. It's just I'm busy with a lot of other stuff, and then I'm watching film in the meantime to get my review done as soon as possible. Also, be on the lookout tomorrow, as in Tuesday, I will be doing a call-in live stream where you can call in. I'm gonna set up the phone lines like we do during the regular season, and y'all can call up to the show and voice your opinions on which picks were good, which picks were bad, and how you feel about the overall draft and things like that. So it's more so gonna be getting y'all's opinions on it than my own. I want to provide a platform for those of y'all, most of y'all who don't have YouTube channels, to say what y'all want to say live and with your voice, not just a comment in the comment section or a tweet on Twitter. So make sure y'all pull up tomorrow for that. Without further ado, let's get it. Alright, so first up, in the first round, Matt Miller loved our selection. He already projects Jamin Davis to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. He also mentioned in the same tweet that he expects Kyle Pitts to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. But he said both are in excellent situations to produce right away. Specifically for Davis, he said Davis will rack up 150 tackles in that scheme and add a few picks and sacks. So that's exciting to hear. Also, first round wise, CBS Sports gave us an A grade for drafting Jamin Davis 19th overall. An A. They're the same people that gave the Cowboys a B for Micah Parsons, the Patriots a B for Mac Jones, the Jaguars a C+ for Travis Etienne, the Steelers a C for Najee Harris, the Giants a B for Kadarius Toney. We got an A for taking Jamin Davis. And then going into day 2, in the middle of it, after we took Samuel Cosmi, Matt Miller said that Washington is having an exceptional draft. Also, PFF Steve said that he absolutely loves what Washington is doing from free agency through the draft, and that was after the Samuel Cosmi pick as well. Then moving on to day 3, man, it was a lot of love for the Dyami Brown pick. Chris Sims said that was his number 3 receiver in the class, and that was a round 1 talent that we got in round 3, one of the biggest steals in the draft. You have Mel Kiper that said that Dyami Brown should have gone early second, maybe even round 1, and that he was a huge steal for us in round 3 as well. Pro Football Focus, PFF Mike said the Washington football team grabbed one of the steals of the draft in Carolina receiver Dyami Brown. PFF George said that the best picks of round 2 and 3 were Jets Elijah Moore, I agree, Chargers Asante Samuel Jr., that was a great pick, Panthers Terrence Marshall Jr., Pats Christian Barmore, Cards Rondale Moore, and Washington football team Dyami Brown. Those were his 6 best picks of day 2. Matt Miller, after day 3 ended, said another great pick for Washington. Dyami Brown was a second round receiver, got him in the 3rd. He's capable of being a Deebo Samuel type of receiver, very good yards after catch ability. And then he added 4 picks, 4 home runs. So Matt Miller absolutely loves what we did the first 3 rounds and felt like we had one of the best drafts, if not the best draft, in the first 3 rounds with our first 4 picks. And PFF Anthony, after day 3 ended, said that us and the Chargers were trending upwards and Carson Wentz's blind side was trending downwards. And then on to the best part of this video, the overall draft grades for the entire draft, starting with The Draft Network, they gave us an A, straight A. Said defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio asked a lot of his linebackers. Jamin Davis provides the missing piece at will with his ability to work sideline to sideline. Dyami Brown joining Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel should be an excellent addition, especially with Ryan Fitzpatrick slinging the rock. An A grade for the overall draft. Then Pro Football Focus gave us an overall of an A-. Chad Reuter from NFL Network gave us an overall grade of a B+. He gave our day 1 grade of Jamin Davis a B+, our day 2 grade an A, and our day 3 grade a B+. Then sportingnews.com gave us a B. They said that Ron Rivera and GM Martin Mayhew did a solid job to match Philadelphia's overall body of work. Davis will make a ton of plays for their defense and Cosmi will hold down left tackle well. They found more valuable depth and big play potential across the board with the rest of their picks. The notable grade drop is being left out of the quarterback fund. So basically, if we would have traded up for quarterback, more than likely would have given us at least an A-, A, maybe even an A+. And I can't argue against that. I feel like Justin Fields was definitely within an obtainable range. But hey, man, besides that, I do also love the draft. I agree with him overall that we did a very good job of addressing a lot of needs, getting a lot of developmental players and building depth. But if we would have gotten our franchise quarterback, it would have been a home run hitting draft, one that would have changed our franchise forever. But we may have a good opportunity to get that franchise quarterback next draft or free agency. So I'm not really going to fault us when I do my grade on us not getting a quarterback. It has to be a slight one, but it's not going to decrease our draft by like 2 letters or anything like that, like some people may have done. Then Sports Illustrated gave us a B+. They said that this was a fun draft in Washington that ran the gamut. In a lot of ways, you have to respect their decision to take a playoff team from last year, double down on what they do well, and let the quarterback situation take care of itself when the time is right. I don't necessarily agree with it, but like he said, you got to respect it. Samuel Cosmi might have been their best pick. That's a very notable thing because a lot of people don't like the Samuel Cosmi pick, and Sports Illustrated is saying that may have been our best pick, period. And while he'll have some pressure with the left tackle vacancy hanging over his head, he's athletic enough to make up for the inevitable rookie jitters. And I disagree. I don't know why people are so sleep on Cornelius Lucas. He's definitely a solid starter if Samuel Cosmi is not ready to step up by week 1. If he is, then great. Because if he ends up winning the starting job, that means he's better than Cornelius Lucas. And if he's better than Cornelius Lucas, then we're set at left tackle. Then CBS Sports gave us a B+, and I like the way they broke this down. They said the best pick was 3rd round receiver Dyami Brown. He will prove to be a major steal. He has great speed, but he's more than just a one-trick pony. I agree. Worst pick, I didn't love the choice of Boise State tight end John Bates in the 4th round, and I think that's a lot of people's most hated pick for us, whether it be in our fan base or outside of our fan base, neutral draft analysts, and just a general pool of people. A lot of people feel like John Bates was our worst pick, or trading up for Cheeseman was our worst pick. And then you're also seeing that Jamin Davis, Dyami Brown, and Samuel Cosmi are usually what people feel like were our best picks and the biggest steals. And then the skinny, their first 4 picks were all outstanding. 1st round linebacker Jamin Davis will be a star. They followed that with a lot of good players at positions of need, highlighted by Dyami Brown. Then you have Yahoo Sports. Overall, they gave us a C, and I believe that's the lowest grade out of any analyst or website or organization that we're going to discuss today. And it's funny too because they gave us a B+ in 2020 and an A- for 2019. But they gave us a C and they said that it was a confusing lot on the whole. For all the upside of Davis, Brown, and Cosmi, we just don't know how much immediate help Washington football team received here. Perhaps that's not important in the long run, but trading up for a long snapper and not selecting the quarterback was, well, interesting. Other than maybe the 2 7th rounders and Brown, we're unsure there was a supreme value anywhere. Perhaps in 2 or 3 years, this class looks better than it does now, but we're skeptical. Then The Ringer gave us a B+. They said it's tough to poke holes in Washington's draft. Davis is a long and rangy playmaker who will make an already good defense that much better in 2021. Cosmi offers starting potential at left tackle. St. Juste has intriguing length at corner, and Brown is a tough to defend deep threat who should pair nicely with Ryan Fitzpatrick YOLO style. There's no wow pick amongst this bunch, but Washington's class looks solid across the board. Then Walter Football, he's usually down on most things we do from what I see. He gave us a C+. DraftWire gave us an A+. They said in the first round, the football team added linebacker Jamin Davis. The organization had a need at the position, and I might have preferred Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, but Davis put together an impressive pre-draft program that saw him rocket up boards. His athleticism should be ideal for the modern game. Then Washington added some impressive pieces during the next few rounds. Samuel Cosmi is one of the most athletic tackles to ever play the position, at least in terms of Kent Lee Platt's relative athletic scoring system. By that metric, Cosmi was the second overall tackle dating back to the 1987 class. And I've told y'all that. Samuel Cosmi is the second most athletic tackle to ever be drafted into the NFL since 1987. It's crazy. And I didn't know this. Samuel Cosmi is the second most athletic since 1987. Tony Mandarich is the first, and he was one of the biggest draft busts of all time, so that's pretty funny. He also said beyond that, they added two intriguing talents in the third round. First is cornerback Benjamin St-Juste from Minnesota, who has a great blend of size, frame, and change of direction skills. His movement skills might make the ideal matchup piece at corner for the modern defense. Then they added wide receiver De'Ami Brown, one of my favorite receivers in the entire class, and getting him in the third round is a steal on paper. And then he said still, Washington was not done. They added Shaka Toney in the seventh round, and while Toney might have cratered in terms of draft value from how he was viewed at the start of the season, he could carve out a rotational role for the football team on passing downs. Then there's receiver Dax Milne, and honestly, Zach Wilson might own him at least a portion of his signing bonus. Some of those splash throws that were displayed during the highlight package shown when Wilson was drafted, it was Milne laying out to make those catches. He might stick on this roster, and as a player drafted 258th overall, that is tremendous value. And Mel Kiper of ESPN gave us a B. He said our top needs were quarterback, offensive tackle, and wide receiver. One of the most notable things that he said is that he's a big fan of De'Ami Brown, who went 82nd overall, and he thought that he could sneak into the top 40 picks. He can get down the field in a hurry on vertical routes and will make contested catches in traffic. Fitzpatrick will love him. He also said that Washington probably took John Bates a round too early, but he could find a role, and he was surprised that edge rusher Shaka Toney lasted deep into the seventh round. He's worth the flyer there. He also said this is one of the few teams in the league that has no idea who his long-term quarterback is, and that is something that lingers in the back of my mind as I grade this class. But I do like the players Washington chose the first 2 days. Again, I don't want to knock us too much when I do my grade for us not getting a franchise quarterback, but for me, who's a firm believer that you need a great quarterback to win Super Bowls, and at the end of the day, winning a division is cool, but without a Super Bowl ring, I'm not excited about the previous season. It's nothing to brag about to me. So I'm huge on we need a franchise quarterback, but again, I'm not about to let it take a hypothetically an A+ grade to a C, but it will affect my grade some. But like a lot of people are saying that are mentioning the fact that we didn't get franchise quarterback, they say that we pretty much did as well as we could basically do with the rest of the draft outside of getting our franchise quarterback, and we got a few steals. Then Washington Post gave us a B. They said Coach Ron Rivera and his hand-picked front office addressed big needs at linebacker and then the offensive line. First round linebacker Jamin Davis could thrive while playing behind Washington's talented defensive line. Second round tackle Samuel Cosmi came off the board a bit earlier than some draft analysts had projected, but is a potential starter. Will Rivera regret not making a move for QB on one of the draft's first 2 days? Signing Ryan Fitzpatrick was a stopgap measure, and there's no prospective long-term solution on the roster. And Pro Football Network also gave us a flat-out B. They said that this was a really mixed bag from the Washington football team. Selections such as Jamin Davis and Samuel Cosmi were ideal. However, those were then countered by reaches for Benjamin St-Juste and John Bates. Spending a sixth rounder on a long snapper was a strange moment. Overall, this draft was good, but not great. Then the scorer also gave us a B. Washington did well to address his top needs. Davis was likely a reach at 19, and his pick ultimately played a role in the club falling short of an A- range grade. But Ron Rivera's squad was in dire need of an early down linebacker, and Davis does have high upside. While Cosmi wasn't our favorite offensive line prospect, he represents great value in the middle of round 2 and will likely start at left tackle as a rookie. Both St-Juste and Brown could have been selected earlier, and they'll influence 2 key phases of the game. Bates and Forrest round out a solid third day, though it could have been argued there were better players on the board, and Washington is clearly banking on potential with this class this year, and it will be interesting interesting to look back in a few years and see how some of these guys developed. Great points they brought up. And DraftKings Nation also gave us a B. It doesn't seem like Washington got any players who are future stars but made solid picks early on in the draft. The football team addressed this rapidly blossoming defense first by adding ESPN's number 3 linebacker prospect and Kentucky's Jamin Davis. It then replaced Trent Williams with tackle Sam Cosmi before adding Minnesota cornerback Benjamin St-Juste in the 3rd round. Washington bolstered its receiving corps by adding pairing Curtis Samuel with Terry McLaurin, and also got one of the draft's premier deep threats in North Carolina's De'Ami Brown. Few wideouts stretch the field like Brown in college. Ryan Fitzpatrick loves to take shots deep, and having a large target who can spread the secondary thin will help the veteran quarterback make some big plays. And then lastly, the New York Post gave us a B-, opted against trading up for QB of the future, making this a win now team. Davis was one of the fastest risers in the last month. Brown in the late 3rd round is great value. Cosmi in the 2nd isn't. Man, there's so many varying degrees of, Samuel Cosmi is controversial. Jamin Davis is controversial. St-Juste, De'Ami Brown. Pretty much almost every player we drafted, there's some people that feel like it was a steal, and then there's some people that feels like we reached. Literally almost every pick, there's just conflicting reports on polar opposite sides. It's crazy. The draft we had is crazy, and it's going to be really interesting to look back a year or two from now to see how much these guys have actually developed and whether we reached or stole some of these picks. And then also to round it out, just a few general points from other analysts. Ethan Young said that he thought 6 NFL teams had fantastic drafts, acquiring top talents while addressing key needs and upgrading their overall roster. In order, he has Carolina Panthers number 1, Denver Broncos number 2, Cleveland Browns number 3, and us is number 4, which is very high praise. Because I love the Chargers draft, I love the Panthers draft, the Jets, the Broncos, the Browns. He has us 4th, only behind the Panthers, Broncos, and Browns. That's really interesting. PFF also said teams with the best roster overhauls in the last 3 years, just in general. This is coming from PFF Steve. He said the Dolphins, Browns, Washington football team, and the Bills. So not even just this draft that we just had, but overall the last 3 years, how we've been building our team, we're one of the 4 highest risers in the NFL according to PFF Steve. And that, the Dolphins, Browns, us, and the Bills, those are 4 very high rising teams. I agree. These 4 teams, as crazy as it would have sounded 3 years ago, are probably going to be strong Super Bowl contenders, all 4 of us moving forward into the future. Especially once we get our franchise quarterback, because the Dolphins may have theirs in Tua, the Browns have theirs in Baker Mayfield, the Bills clearly have theirs in Josh Allen. We're literally the only of these 4 teams where it's obvious we don't have our guy yet. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Just wanted to show y'all all of the draft grades and analysis for the Washington football team and present it to y'all in one video, because I know many people are probably curious and don't feel like looking everywhere, or probably don't even have the time to look everywhere like I just did. And I probably have missed a few websites and things like that, but I wanted to make sure I got most of the major ones and a lot of low-key ones with very great points. That's why I've read some of the details behind some of the grades that we got, but not all of them. But yeah, man, definitely get in the comment section and let me know how you feel about this draft overall, and how you feel about how everybody else feels about this draft. Please also like this video if you liked it. If you learned anything, please subscribe if you haven't. Hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get a notification every time I release a video like this one. I'm coming out with live streams for everybody we drafted and undrafted free agent running back Jared Patterson. Stay tuned for that. Of course, the constant live streams. Speaking of live streams, I will be doing, like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, a call-in live stream where y'all can call in. Y'all is part of the Street Scores family, and y'all can voice y'all opinions on the draft, or who you want us to pick up in free agency, who you feel like will win like the certain training camp battles, like the receiver group that's super deep right now. Whatever you want to discuss, you can ask me a question, you can voice your opinion. The call-in show will be tomorrow, as in Tuesday, so stay tuned for that. And of course, man, big shouts out to everybody that supports the channel, man. Everybody that pulls up to every video and live stream, leaves a like, shares it out to everybody they know, man. That's real love. Big shouts out to everybody that donates to the channel, man. That's huge love. And of course, a special shout out to all of my sponsors, especially my Pro Bowl sponsors, whose names you see scrolling on the screen right now, and my one All-Pro sponsor, man. Big shouts out to all of y'all, man. I really appreciate y'all. Catch y'all later. I'm out.